XLOOKUP is a new and improved lookup version. With it, you can instantly find a value in a dataset vertically or horizontally and return or display the value from another column or row. Currently, XLOOKUP is only available to the users of Office 365. So if you're using older Excel versions, you won't be able to use this function. This is the syntax of the XLOOKUP function. It's quite similar to that of VLOOKUP, but it has some fantastic extra features. If you find the syntax or arguments complicated or a little over the top, don't worry. I will explain each argument using simple and practical examples to make everything clear. The first three arguments are mandatory, while the last three are optional. And since they are optional, you can leave them blank and the default setup will be used if they are not specified in your formula. These are the tasks that can be done by XLOOKUP, and we will have an example for each of them. Number 1, fetch a lookup value from a vertically arranged data. Number 2, look up and fetch an entire record. Number 3, fetch a lookup value from a horizontally arranged data. Number 4, two-way lookup or combination of horizontal and vertical lookup. Number 5, handle error when lookup value is not found. Number 6, nested lookup or lookup in multiple ranges. Number 7, find the approximate match. Number 8, use wildcard or partial instead of full match. Number 9, find the last matching value. And number 10, conditional lookup. Let's begin with the examples. The first one is to look up from a vertically arranged data. And for this, we will use argument 1 to 3. VLOOKUP can do it subject to some limitations, while XLOOKUP can do the task easily and with flexibility. Suppose you have this table of data and you want to extract the salary of these employees. Type XLOOKUP and press Tab. The formula appears showing that the first to input is the lookup value or the value that you're looking for. In this case, we want to search for the employee Barbara Hill, so let's click this. Comma, and next is the lookup array. This is the range where the lookup value can be searched. In this case, this range here. Make it absolute by pressing F4 because we are planning to copy the formula to the cells below later, using exactly the same reference. Comma, and next to input is the return array, which is the array from which you want to fetch and return the value, corresponding to the position where the lookup value is found. In our example, we want the salary, so this column right here is the return array. Again, make it fixed. And I mentioned that the last three arguments are optional, so let us take that up later. Press enter for now, and we've extracted the salary of Barbara, and we've performed one of the functions of XLOOKUP. The data set used in our formula is in the same sheet with where we are working, but you can also extract data from another tab or even from another workbook. The way the XLOOKUP and VLOOKUP functions handle lookup arrays is one clear distinction between them. In VLOOKUP, you have the entire array where the lookup value is in the leftmost column, and then you specify the column number from where you want to fetch the result. On the other hand, XLOOKUP lets you select the lookup array and return array separately. The advantage of using XLOOKUP over VLOOKUP is that you can now look to the left as a direct result of having the lookup array and return array as independent inputs. VLOOKUP had this limitation where you can only look up and find a value that is to the right. But with XLOOKUP, that limitation is removed. So even if the lookup array is here and the return array is here, there's no problem at all and XLOOKUP can still do the function. Another significant problem that is resolved by XLOOKUP is that even if you insert a new column or rearrange existing columns, the resulting data will always be accurate. VLOOKUP would likely break or give an incorrect result in such cases, as most of the time the column index number is hard-coded. Next, look up and fetch an entire record, still using the first three arguments. With this data, let us not just get the salary, but let us extract the entire record for these people. That includes the date hired, salary, and allowance. Type XLOOKUP and press tab, then input the lookup value, followed by the lookup array, which is this column right here, and followed by the return array, just like what we did earlier in the first example. But this time, the return array should include all columns after the name, as we want to get the entire record of each employee. Enter and look at that. We have all the needed data. When the lookup value is found in column B, the formula returns the entire row. This is a helpful enhancement of VLOOKUP. Now you don't need to specify the column number individually for each formula. And if you copy it down, the other columns will also be filled. Take note that you can't delete the cells that are part of the array that were automatically populated. In this case, you can't delete the range I4 to J8, as the values here were just auto-populated. The formula in the formula bar would just be grayed out if you select these cells. Nothing will happen if you try to delete the contents. You can only delete the formula in column H where we originally made. And the auto-populated data will also be deleted. Next, look up from a horizontally arranged data. HLOOKUP or horizontal lookup can do it subject to some limitations, while XLOOKUP can do this task easily and in a much flexible way. Look at this table with data arranged horizontally. We can extract the allowance of these employees using the first three arguments of XLOOKUP. The process is simple and similar to our first example, except that this is horizontal. Type XLOOKUP and press tab. Click the lookup value Barbara Hill, comma, and input the lookup array or the employee names in row 2, and press F4. Followed by the return array or the row with the allowance amounts, and press F4. Enter and copy the formula down. For our fourth example, we will do the two-way lookup or combination of horizontal and vertical lookup. With this set of data, let us display the salary of Karen Green in cell H4. With the two-way lookup, we can set two lookup values and two lookup arrays. The first lookup value can be found in row 3 and the second lookup value can be found in column B. This is the formula that will carry out the two-way lookup. Type XLOOKUP and press tab. Then select H3 as the first lookup value. Then the first lookup array, which is the horizontal range from C3 to E3, as this is where the lookup value can be found. Comma, and because this is a two-way lookup, let us type XLOOKUP again and press tab to input the second lookup value, which is G4. Then the second lookup array is this vertical range from B4 down to B22, as this is where you will find the second lookup value. Comma, and let us select the return array, We need to select not just one column range, but the range from C4 to E22 to cover all information vertically and horizontally. Then we should have two close parentheses here because we have two open parentheses in the formula. Then hit enter. And we have the output corresponding to the salary of Karen Green. If you change it to allowance, the output will be updated accordingly. And if you change this lookup value to King Michael, you'll still get the right output. We can apply data validation in order to easily change the input using list and referring to this row. And here, also using list and referring to this column. So now you can quickly change the input by choosing from the drop-down list. That's for the two-way lookup. We've covered 4 tasks so far. Now let's move to task number 5. Handle error when lookup value is not found, this time using argument number 1 to 4. In our examples earlier, we just filled up the first 3 arguments of the formula: lookup value, lookup array, and return array. In this example, we will specify our option for argument number 4, if not found, or the value to return if the lookup value is not found. This argument is optional, and if not provided, XLOOKUP will return a not applicable error. Using the same data, let us use XLOOKUP to display the salary of this new set of employees. Type XLOOKUP and press tab, lookup value, then go to the lookup array and press F4, followed by the return array and press F4, then press enter. Then copy it down. There are 2 names that can't be found in the lookup array, so the result is an error. Excel has a way to avoid this error from appearing in our spreadsheet. To eliminate the error, we need to use the 4th argument to define what we want to display instead of #NA. Open the formula and type not found after the 3rd argument and enclosed in double quotes, telling Excel to treat it as text. Enter and copy it down. Now the errors are replaced with not found, which is better and more comprehensible. In this example, I have hard-coded what we want to show if there is no match. Another way to do is to use a cell reference or a formula. This will be illustrated in our next example. Nested XLOOKUP or lookup in multiple ranges using argument 1 to 4. This task is still about the if not found argument, but this time we will use a formula to define what to do if the lookup value is not found. This is just a great function, letting us use nested XLOOKUP formula in case we have 2 or more separate lists to work on. For example, we have here 3 lists, and this example shows the lists in one and the same sheet. But you can have these in separate sheets or even workbooks, and the formula will still apply. Let's do this example. Type XLOOKUP and tab, then go to the lookup value, then the lookup array in the first list. Press F4 since we're going to copy the formula down later, and the return array in the first list. And press F4, comma, and type XLOOKUP again for the second list. Then do the same process. Input the same lookup value, then the lookup array in the second list, and the return array in the second list. Then type XLOOKUP again for the third list. Then the lookup value, which is still this one, the lookup array in the third list, and the return array in the third list. Add 3 close parentheses since we have 3 open parentheses. Enter, and this is the output. Notice the absolute references again because we will copy the formula down. We used the fourth argument in the nested lookup formula. This means that XLOOKUP will search for this employee name in the first list, and if found, returns the corresponding salary. If not found in the first list, XLOOKUP searches for the same name in the second list and returns the salary if the lookup value or the name happens to be in the second list. If still not found, XLOOKUP finds the name in the third list and returns the salary. This argument allows us to add another XLOOKUP in the same formula and scan the lists with a single formula. We used 3 lists or tables in our example, but XLOOKUP can accommodate more. I'm just not sure how many nested lookups we can do in a formula. I tried to do 7 and it worked. If you have time, you may try to do more and see how far the nested lookup can go. Our next task is to find the lookup value using the approximate match. In this example, we will discuss argument 5 of the XLOOKUP formula, which is match mode, or the type of match to use. This argument is optional, and if not specified, Excel will do the exact match, being the default option. Another notable improvement is that with XLOOKUP, there are 4 match modes, while VLOOKUP has only 2. You can specify any one of the 4 options to decide how the lookup value should be matched. 0 for the exact match, where the lookup value should exactly match the value in the lookup array, and this is the default option. -1 for exact match also, but if not found, use the next smaller value. 1 for exact match also, and if not found, use the next larger item. And 2 for wildcard match, or partial matching using wildcards. We will have this in the next example. For now, let's try the second and third option. See this table with annual salary. In this column, let us calculate the bonus of each employee using the reference bonus percentage shown at the right. Here, you don't need to sort your data. XLOOKUP will do the task even if your data is not sorted. Again, let us calculate the bonus of each employee, and that should be the salary amount times the bonus percentage. First, let us determine the bonus percentage based on this table. Type XLOOKUP and press Tab. Input the lookup value, which is the salary amount. The lookup array is this range, as this is where we search for the salary. Then the return array is this range. If we press enter, it will result to an error because the default is exact match, and Excel can't find this exact amount in this lookup array. Here we need to indicate an option for argument 5. Let's just leave argument 4 blank and put another comma. Then for argument 5, let's use -1, which means that Excel will look for an exact match, and when it does not find one, it will choose the value just smaller than the lookup value. In this case, 100,000, and the bonus percentage for this salary is 6%. We get 6% or 0.06. If we put 1 instead, XLOOKUP will refer to the next larger value if the exact match is not found, and we get 7% or 0.07. This corresponds to the salary of 125,000. But we are calculating for the bonus amount, so we should multiply this bonus percentage with the salary in column D. The bonus amount is 7,257.60, and that is 103,680 times 7%. We've done 7 examples, and the next one is for wildcard match or partial instead of full match. This is another fantastic capability of XLOOKUP to allow the use of wildcard. In Excel, a wildcard refers to a special character or symbol that is used to represent one or more characters in a text string. By using wildcards, you can search for text strings that partially match a given pattern, rather than requiring an exact match. This makes it easier to find data that may have slight variations. With XLOOKUP, you just need to specify in the fifth argument that you're using wildcard characters. If you don't specify this, XLOOKUP will give you an error. Just a quick review of the options for argument 5. We will indicate 2 if we use wildcard. For this task, let us use the same dataset, and we will extract the salary of these employees here, but assuming that we don't know their full names. So we need to use a wildcard in argument 5 to represent the missing characters. The missing characters in our lookup value could be before or after these words. So it's better to use asterisk or wildcard character before and after. Type XLOOKUP and press tab, then input asterisk, and it needs to be within double quotes, and joined with the lookup value using ampersand. Click the lookup value, then again ampersand, and asterisk within double quotes, comma, and go to the lookup array. Press F4 and comma, and go to the return array and press F4. If you hit enter, you will get an error because you need to specify that you are using wildcard in argument number 5. So let's just leave argument 4 blank and add another comma to proceed to argument 5. To make sure that XLOOKUP accepts wildcard characters, argument 5 must be set to 2, representing wildcard match option. This tells Excel to look through all the cells in the lookup array, and if it contains the word Karen, consider it a match, regardless of how many and what characters are before and after this word or text. Hit enter, and you now have the value. Let's check. Karen is here with salary of 101,400. And you can bring in the complete name. Type XLOOKUP and tab the wildcard character in between double quotes, ampersand, the lookup value, ampersand again, then asterisk in between double quotes. Then the lookup array, which is this range. Now the return array should also be this range because our goal is to get the complete name, which is in this range. Let's again leave the fourth argument blank and put another comma and type 2 for the fifth argument. Press enter and we have the complete name. Let's move to the next example, which is to find the last matching value. And this time we will use argument 1, 2, 3, and 6. XLOOKUP can easily get the last matching value in a range. One of the limitations of VLOOKUP is that it only returns the first matching value. With XLOOKUP, we already have the option to get the last matching value. Using this table, let us display the name of the last person hired per department, as well as their hire date. Let's type XLOOKUP and press Tab. Then go to the lookup value, then the lookup array, which is this range, then press F4. The return array, which is this range. It's just similar to what we did in the earlier examples. The only difference is that we need to input our option for the last argument. We did the first three arguments. Let us leave the fourth and fifth arguments blank and use the default setup. So let's just indicate two additional commas and give our option for the last argument. For this, the default is 1, which represents the first matching value, but let us indicate -1 since we want the last matching value. Here, we need to sort our data by the hire date so that the last hire date becomes the last matching value. To display the hire date, type XLOOKUP and press Tab. The lookup value, production department, lookup array or this column of department names, and press F4. Then the return array or this column, because we want to display the last hire date, comma. Let us leave arguments 4 and 5 blank, so just put another comma, and again another comma. Then proceed to argument 6. For this, our option is -1 in order to return the last matching value. Now we've covered all the arguments in the XLOOKUP formula. Our last example is to use XLOOKUP with another formula. In this example, we will just use the first three or the mandatory arguments, but this is a more complex task as we will incorporate another formula with XLOOKUP. And this will prove the fantastic features of this Excel tool. We will use another set of data for this. See this table with student names and their scores per subject. For this example, we want to display the name of the student with the lowest score in each subject. We can sort the data per column and get the name corresponding to the smallest value for each subject, but if our table has several columns, it will take us time to finish. We can use a combination of XLOOKUP and min formula since we need to search for the lowest value and return the name corresponding to that. Type XLOOKUP and press Tab. Type min and press Tab again. Then go to this range and close parentheses. The result of this min formula is the lookup value of our XLOOKUP formula. In most cases, the lookup value is given, like in our previous examples. But in this case, it's not given, so we have to incorporate another formula in order to derive the lookup value. Put comma, then our lookup array is this range of amounts under the subject algebra. This is where we search for the lowest value. Comma, and the return array is this column of names, as we want to return the name with the lowest grade. We have to make this range absolute and press F4 because we will refer to this same range when we copy the formula to the other cells at the right. Close parentheses and hit enter. It shows that Ramirez got the lowest score in algebra. Then copy, or if we copy the formula right here, we'll find this info. Flores got the lowest in physics, and Garcia got the lowest in history. And we've done 10 examples of the amazing functions of Excel's XLOOKUP formula. Thank you guys for watching. Please click subscribe and watch out for my next video.